Good Monday morning, everyone. Happy Columbus Day, Indigenous People Day. And if you're our neighbors up in Canada, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. But you're listening to Author Talk with me, Amy, Russell, and Mickey of Creative Edge is on today. So, you guys, let's jump into the weekend, shall we? So, as all of you guys know, if you've been following our conversations, my husband has been out of town, so Josh came back for the weekend, Friday and Saturday. He left actually this morning, which was a relief because let's just say by the end of a week being a single parent, I was looking pretty haggard. Okay. And a lot of people were telling me, Amy, you look really tired. Are you okay? No. Okay. I have terrorists in my home running around.
I know.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good to know my name, okay? I mean, it was just a hot mess of a thing. I'm back in that this week, but I am going to take the girls to see the solar eclipse that's happening. It's going to go over Corpus. So I'm going to go down to visit Josh so the girls can see the solar eclipse, which will be pretty cool. But I bought everything for our Bob's Burgers family Halloween costume. I'm having to convince Meadow to be Tina, but that's an uphill battle and I will conquer that. But I'm so excited to do this outfit.
So how do you get Josh to dress up in a ridiculous bubble balloon?
I just
costume?
tell him what he's gonna do. And I'm like, hey, we're gonna do this.
If he's gonna be gone all week, he's gonna do what you say, right?
Exactly. That's how it goes in this household. So
what's the story? Are you still building another house?
I am.
That's insane.
I am. I'm waiting for them to get back to me because we had some questions and to see if they could do some of the things that we wanted. So I'm waiting for the builders and everything to kind of collaborate, I guess, and give me answers. So once I have answers, but I'm supposed to have a close date sometime in June, which you guys all know I love June because it's my birthday month. So that works for me.
You know,
as birthdays.
I practiced law for 40 years. I did a lot of construction litigation. Don't count on June, honey.
I know. As long as it's before the girls start school in August, I'm happy. I'm a happy camper. I know, Russell. Thank you for the encouraging grunt there.
They'll say June, but it's more likely going to be September.
I'm okay. As long as my kids can go to that school, I'm okay. Hey, Brian, how are you?
So, Brian's had a lot of things happen lately. He's had a lot of posts. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing a lot of it.
He's doing some cool stuff, man. I love to see our previous guests on, when they add me add us as friends and seeing what they're doing and getting out there. I love to see all of those things. But I love hearing what you guys did this weekend and what you have coming up. So who wants to go first?
Let Darth Vader go next.
Okay.
I can't help my darkness, but my excuse is that it's Halloween month.
I think didn't Darth Vader say that too?
Yeah.
Use the force,
darkness.
Yeah.
Use the force, Russell. Use the force. Or was that a Ben Kenobi thing?
I don't believe in the force.
That was a Kenobi thing. Darth Vader
I'm a Trekkie.
Come to the dark side, and then I am your father. That's Darth Vader, okay?
So my weekend was
nothing but a theft from Dune series.
I know.
Oh,
I know.
So now you're accusing Lucas of plagerism?
Lucas did plagiarize Dune. That's what all he did was steal from Dune.
You guys,
George, if you're out there,
people that are listening to this needs to comment below and say, once again, Russell was right.
George, if you're listening, a lawyer just accused you of plagiarism. Just know that.
Okay, so what did you do this weekend, Mickey?
Well, unlike you wonderful people in Texas,
I'm not in Texas.
Well, regardless of where well, I know Amy is, so I'm going to pick on her. Yes.
Okay.
I am Canadian, which means that it's have
cold as hell.
things. We have what?
It's cold as hell up there. That's what Canadian means. It means it's cold.
Not right now, but soon. We have Thanksgiving this weekend, but unlike your Thanksgiving, where there's actual football being played,
which is the point of Thanksgiving,
doesn't do that. So I'm watching NFL football. I was at a Korean feast yesterday for my church.
Which is tremendous. There's nothing greater than Korean food.
Oh,
Nothing.
beef, chicken, shrimp, vegetables, all kinds of
Kimchi.
crazy stuff was going on. And we all like hands in there serving ourselves. And it was like 4 hours of fun. I met the entire Filipino family. It was an amazing, amazing experience. So that's what I did. And then today, after I get off the phone with you guys, I'm going to do a food drive and delivering bags to houses for people to put food in to help with Thanksgiving.
That sounds
and then I'm going to watch some
inconvenient.
football, but not the Cowboys because Amy hates them.
It sounds inconvenient.
It sounds inconvenient. I just turn on the football games early.
It's Thanksgiving.
Right. That means football.
I mean,
Right.
that's a true statement too. I grew up in a house where it meant football. I get
Right.
it.
And quit talking. Just watch football. That was,
Well,
Pretty much. And then you eat the leftovers, like you eat Thanksgiving early at like 2:00.
Yeah.
And you make turkey sandwiches and watch the game and all of that fun jazz.
so is turkey the Thanksgiving? What's the Thanksgiving food in Canada?
it's normally turkey, but it was not for me this weekend. It was a Korean feast.
Which is much better than turkey, by the way.
You have no idea. Absolutely.
I do. It's so much better.
It was amazing.
That's
And
one of
I'm trying to convince Ezra, my daughter, to get her Halloween costume in place because she's on this Walking Dead thing and she wants to be Carl Grimes for Halloween and she wants me to be Rick. So we'll see how that all goes.
You should do it. How old is she?
16.
Oh.
I like it.
If she actually is thinking of you at all, you should completely comply to do it with her. Because if your daughter is 16, you're lucky if they're even thinking about you.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So
we're
you got
going
to
to do
comply.
that. We do Walking Dead. She was actually here this weekend. We do Walking Dead marathons. That's all she does when she comes to my house. It's great.
So you got to comply. That's all there is to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's how my weekend went, guys. And yes, I am Canadian. Don't hold it against me. Anyways.
Why would I hold that against you? It's cool.
Oh, I do all the time.
I don't.
I straight up do. Because he came to Texas and then he left. So I just consider him the Texan
Because
and not the
it was
Canadian.
hot. So Mickey
It was
left.
too hot. It was too hot.
I mean, you gotta have tough skin.
That's why I'm inside today, this morning, because it is so cold in the mountain that my house is that I was too cold to sit in the forest for the show today.
But what is cold to you though? Is it like a Texan
40.
cold?
It was
like
46
okay.
degrees.
I was gonna say,
oh my God,
50, it was 50 here, and that's cold.
That's cold.
For us, Texas,
please.
75 is cold for us.
Give me a break. You know what it's going to be in January and February in where I live?
No.
Minus, not positive, minus 50.
But that's
So don't
in
even talk to me
Celsius.
about the weather. Huh?
That's in Celsius though. So what's negative? Like I don't know what negative 50 is. Then
Negative 50 is frostbite within 2 seconds of being outside. That's what it is.
why? See, yet again, that just makes no sense. I would move to a warmer climate.
Okay.
Just say.
So we're off Mickey's nonsense or Darth Vader.
What did you do this weekend?
Okay.
Yeah, what'd you do, Russell?
I have a couple of things to talk
Besides hammering George
Okay.
Lucas, what else did you do this weekend?
about. Right. I have a couple of things. Number one, I got back from Washington, D.C. I was in Washington, D.C. a couple of weekends ago. And while I was there, I visited the family of Randy Stevens. He's actually been on this show with his first book. And now he has 2 more books. And I had dinner with his family, not with Randy, because he had to work. And they made sure I got a couple of his new books. So I'm going to be taking those to Tokyo with me.
Nice.
And we spent the weekend packing and exercising because all of our exercise programs were going to be derelict while we're in Japan from, running and all those things. So we were working out, packing, and, I have to go back to Mickey and talking about Korean barbecue because I have not found an adequate Korean restaurant in Atlanta, Georgia yet. It's been one of the greatest failings that I've found. If any of our listeners, they have any idea what they think the best Korean restaurant is in West Atlanta, please put a message below.
Abigail Del Cruz's house in Lloydminster, Alberta, Canada. That's the best Korean restaurant that I know.
I don't believe that. Well, it could be in Alberta.
Because
That
that's
could
where I was yesterday, and they beat out any restaurant that I know of.
Wow.
That could be true. That could be true. So I can't argue with you. I need to thank the people listening to us on the podcast. We're
Yep.
top 10 independent book podcast in America. We're very humbled by it. Most people listen to us during the week, driving to work, driving home from work, working out. We want to thank them. Amy, where can people find us?
Yeah, so you can find us anywhere that you can listen to a podcast. Amazon, Spotify, Apple, Google, like not Stitcher's not around anymore, but Good Pods, really anywhere that you can go and search for a podcast, you can listen to us. And I always reiterate Russell's statement about we are so humbled and just excited. Russell's the one that wanted to start this 8 years ago now, and we've just been doing it and it's evolved and we've had a lot of fun, met some amazing authors and writers and others within the writing community. So this has just been so much fun to do and meet so many amazing people like Mickey here himself. And so we have just had a lot of fun. So we want to thank all of you guys for tuning in and listening to us.
Amy, tell people what you've been working on.
Oh, man.
Before
Okay,
she does that, can I say something? Or
no.
You can say whatever you want,
I
Mr. Vader.
I want to thank both of you and Author Talk for your support within the Creative Edge team, because you guys have brought on anybody and everybody that I've represented, and you've done it unselfishly and you've done it professionally. And I just thank both of you, and I'm being very serious, Russell, so please no snapbacks. I just want to thank both of you for your support, your friendship, and the affiliation overall.
Of course. It has been a very fun time, and you have some amazing authors, and my daughters are coming in, so this could be another fun show.
Do you need to run and lock the door? Keep them out.
She can by herself.
I'm actually so proud of my children. I know that this is like going off and then I'll jump into what I've been working on. But I'm sitting here listening through my headphones. My kids, I told you, know how to work the remote. And they have put on Moana. And I was worried it was something scary. But then I heard the crab singing. So I was like, oh, snap. Look at my 4-year-old go.
I actually have that movie memorized because the last time when it was hot and I was in Houston, my granddaughter would play it over and over and over. It was awful.
It's a good one. It's a good one. So I'm so proud of it. But no, so as you guys know, I have mentioned it several times. Mickey is also a part of that. But we are doing the 12 Days of Page Turners again this year. So we're gearing up for it. Remember, it's the first 11 days of December. And the 12th day, all of the authors come back. And we have 50 authors this year. So it has been a fun time. I've been getting together goodies because you guys all know, one, I love the holiday season. But I'm always incredibly grateful for all the authors that want to do a holiday promotion during the holiday season, and I get to help promote them. So I always give them goodies. So I'm working on getting those together. I'm ahead of the game this year, you guys. Oh my gosh. Usually I'm behind the ball, but I'm ahead of the game. So it's been a lot of fun. I know that there are other things that are going on. Like this month, the Book Fest is happening on the 21st, I believe. It will be happening. I know that Lucia over at Relatable Voice is also having her own festival that's going on some point this year. Mickey might know more about that. But there are a lot of holiday promotions and festivals that authors can get involved in that are online or in your local community that can help you sell your books this holiday season. I know with everything kind of going up in terms of pricing and stuff, it can get a little harder selling your books and all of those things. And so going to these festivals online or in person and also offering some kind of holiday promotion or discount on your books will also help you this holiday season, because us here at Author Talk are firm believers that the best gift that you can give this holiday season is a book to help readers find some new author to enjoy, escape from reality, or learn something new that they want to dive into, or work on themselves, right? So the best gift that you can give anyone this holiday season is a book. And so the 12 Days of Patroners will have 50 holiday promotions for you to take advantage of, new ones every single night, and they will all come together on the 12th. So make sure that you tune in, but go and check out some of these other festivals. They have amazing authors and great information. So in terms of holiday things, that's what's happening over here. Mickey may have more information on that, but that's my 2 cents on authors for holidays.
Yeah, those 2 festivals are the ones that I've been focusing on. I mean, Desiree at Bookfest is phenomenal. They put books up on the billboards at Times Square in New York, and it's a virtual festival. It's amazing. And Lucia, her reach is like over 3 million, and she's doing this RV Book Fest in November, and it's going to be awesome too. So, yeah.
Exciting.
So I have a question, Mickey. How does
I may have an answer. We'll see.
So how does an author get involved in that?
They hire a publicist and let that publicist reach out to them, those outlets. That's the best way to do it, to be honest.
I think
it's all about networking and affiliation, my friend. Just saying.
It's a good one. It's true. But, having a publicist is one that, in a poor choice of words, puts you a notch above other authors that don't necessarily have that. It gives you more street cred, I guess, is the best way to say it. So having a publicist reach out and do these things for you instead of you reaching out for yourself is going to go leaps and bounds in terms of credibility, I guess. If that's
90% of the time, I would say that there are still some authors who are having success without a publicist. But those authors who are having success without a publicist are having to market themselves, which takes away from the writing aspect as well. So every indie, every traditional author needs to determine what they value. Do they want to be marketing their own books and trying to get on those outlets and then not focus on the writing piece? Or do they want to hire somebody to help them with all that so they can focus on the writing and everything else? And do that. So it's a balancing act, both sides.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those things that there's a lot of overwhelm when you become an author, whether it's your first time book or you've put out 20 books, right? There's always the overwhelm of marketing it, trying to market it yourself when you really just want to sit down and write a book, right? You don't want to have to market and get on social media or book yourself on all these podcasts. You really just want to write, right? Especially if you have a long series, if you're a fantasy writer, all of those things take a lot of time. So,
well, and the other thing with that too, Amy, I mean, this is a good conversation. I hope it's okay to talk about this, but I mean, Russell, you asked. So with BookFest, which is one of the largest virtual festivals you can think of, they get sponsorship like LA Times and things like that. But they're also signing authors to their festival like Jonathan Mayberry, New York Times bestseller Tosca Lee, people like that. So for an indie to pitch BookFest, I'm not saying it's not going to go well, but when you're competing with people like that, you really do need a publicist to get you into that echelon and build those relationships.
Well,
fortunately for me, fortunately for me and Desiree are very, very good, and we have a really solid working relationship, so we can have those conversations. But it's not always going to be like that, right? And for an indie author to go in there, it makes that battle so much harder, in my opinion.
So, Mickey, you said that there was something you wanted to talk about before we got started.
There's always something I want to talk about.
I know,
That's why you bring me on the show.
He wants to talk about film and how they are.
Right. And I want to talk about that too.
Yeah.
So that was a great idea.
What's the best word for them? They are the film are predators. There are predators out there, I guess.
Because there's predators all around the author industry.
I know.
There's
isn't it
publishing
sad?
predators. They're just all around looking, and an author has to pay attention and work their way through the maze of predators, finding the good people.
Yeah.
And so this is one more place that has traps.
So for me, and I'm just in my 7 years of experience in this, The film predators, to me, are the most dangerous. And the reason I say that is because the minute, and I'm going to focus on indies for a second if I can. The minute an indie author hears from these film predators saying, we can get your screenplay on TV or film, which, let's be honest, everybody, that is one of the major reasons why people write books in a lot of cases, is to get their books made into books or made into film and TV. That's a huge reason. These predators feed off that, and they make announcements like, for $1,500, we're going to pitch your book to Hollywood, and we're going to get you a screenplay written, and it's going to be on the silver screen within 3 years. Bah, 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 bah. I've had 3 emails this last month from my team saying, Mickey, look at this. I'm doing it. When in the reality is, and I'm glad this is live and being recorded, and people can say what they want, no author, and I mean no author, should have to pay a company to get their book pitched into Hollywood. It doesn't work that way. I have 2 authors right now. One already has had a TV show on Paramount Plus, Ido Van Belkom, Wolfpack, starring Sarah Michelle Gellar. He didn't pay a single dime to get his book represented on that show. I also have New York Times bestseller, Tosca Lee, whose books, she has 7 books optioned for television through Radar Pictures, and Edward Burns, i.e. Saving Private Ryan, production company, Marlboro Road Gang Productions. She didn't pay a dime for any of that. She got a film agent, and that film agent pitched her books to Hollywood. Hollywood liked the books, liked the sales, and that's how it typically happens. Throwing money to these companies, promising the moon and the utopia and all of that, 90% of them, there might be 10%, but 90% of them are scams. And so that's why I really wanted to address this.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I deal with a lot of indies, right? Indies is my happy spot, indies and small presses. And there is like going to film festivals and doing all those things. There is the hope of, having your book convert into a screenplay or a screenwrite and making it into a movie. But I feel like the predators within the film industry have come out a lot more post the pandemic in terms of emails and everything like that, have come out a lot more saying, oh, if you pay me X amount, right? Because it's an email that you're going to receive, right? Yep. And if you pay me X amount, then I will pitch your book to these film agents and stuff that I know. And there's no guarantee, right? And we're not talking like $500. We're talking thousands of dollars. Yep. And I think it's the it's the pitfall, right? So in every hobby or artistry that you do, you always have predators within, kind of like what Russell was saying, but you have like an explosion of them, and they're hard to spot because there's so many, and they seem
so why
incredible.
Is that? Why are there more now post-pandemic? Because I've read that there is a contraction within the streaming industry of production, and also because of the strike that was on so long, there's a contraction on the amount of new product that is being demanded out there. So yeah. I'm puzzled why the sharks are more active now. Why do you think that is, Mickey? Your hands on the stove.
I think it's because of, a number of reasons. Number one, media is harder to get now because there's so many authors who are bombarding the media outlets for coverage on the books because there's so many self-published books being written. That's the first point. Number two, we have inflationary measures. So some of these so-called companies who are trying to make more money are targeting authors with false promises and false hopes around this, because there are more books being made every day into TV and film. But they're also mostly mainstream if people really stood up and noticed. Diana Gabaldon, George R.R. Martin. I mean, Ido is a Canadian with Wolfpack. He's still a very, very mainstream book writer. He's a Bram Stoker Award winner. So when authors see these kind of things, they get targeted by all these ride by the night companies, and they're being built every single day. And there's just so much more of it. And there's always this premise that we're going to let the author write the screenplay for Hollywood, and Hollywood's going to turn this into a film, which never happens. Hollywood controls that narrative. They're going to make sure that they write the screenplay, and they're going to make sure that they take creative control over all of that. It's just what happens. So that's my reasoning behind it, Russell. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. And so you've had, what did you tell your two clients that told you, I'm doing this, I'm paying this?
I told them point blank, let your publicist handle it, and I will contact the people.
Yep.
And then we just finally said, we're not interested, go away.
Just go away. See, Mickey is so blunt. I have a hard time doing that. But yeah, I mean, you really don't. It's just sad because you have people that will out there that will prey on them, on new authors, older authors, indie authors, and I mean they will con them out of thousands of dollars. It's just insane.
It's like that with media outlets too. They'll have some, and I'm not one of these publicists, but they'll have these so-called publicists reaching out to indie authors saying, I can get you in the New York Times, I can get you on Fox News, I can get you here, if you pay me $5,000 up front. And then it never happens. Fortunately, I don't do that. My pricing is set based on opportunities that are booked, and my clients get value based on that. So it's sad. It's sad there's so many predators out there targeting the indie author community, because there are so many good indie books, and indie authors they get beat down all the time. It makes me sick.
So that, Mickey, before we started, also, you were talking about when you first, Amy and you first came across each other. And the interesting thing about that is because you both are in an industry, and frankly, most industries are like this, but it is true for the author industry, that there are a lot of traps and sharks out there that authors have to avoid. And because of that, if you are an honest, real company like the two of you are, you have to always be on guard about who you're working with and whether this is someone with integrity or not. And you two had to learn that about each other when you met each other, didn't you?
Go ahead, Amy. Go ahead.
Yes, because Mickey was not very nice or wanting to collaborate. But you guys know, like when Sandy was on here and Sandy was working and I worked with Sandy, Sandy was all about collaboration. And it never was a competition and anything. If she could collaborate and work with other people and it would benefit her authors, she was always down to do that. So that's the role model and example that I had, right? Because she's just a badass. Like Sandy's just amazing, right? And so here I come and I put out for Author Talk on Radio guest list that, you know, if you wanted to be a guest on Author Talk, you could. And lo and behold, Mickey finds it. And Mickey is just, you know, so warm and welcoming in his email and phone call to me.
He's such a wonderful, good Christian man.
He is. He's so sweet.
My email was nice to you, Amy. It was a conversation after the fact that was not nice.
Oh, man, I know. He passive-aggressively threatened me that if another publicist had any conversation with his authors about their services.
Well, do you blame him? I mean, everyone's always those
I would never
thieves out
do
there
that.
constantly I know, but he didn't know you at the time.
I know, but I mean,
that's the thing.
But
and there are so many bad guys out there.
No, I know. But if I booked anybody on a show that had another publicist or marketer or whatever, I would never tell them that, strictly because if my people choose not to be loyal and they want to go somewhere else that's going to benefit them and it's going to help them, I want that for them. Like if I'm not meeting their needs and they find someone and they hit it off, and because sometimes personalities mesh or whatever results, whatever it is, it doesn't always work out, right? So if they find someone and on one of these shows that I've booked them for or whatever, and it works out better for them and they're a better fit than I am, and they're going to be successful, that's all I want for them. So I don't do that. But I stepped away from publicity. I don't know, like 2-3 years ago, I stepped away and focused more on book marketing because I have little kids and I wanted to spend more time with them. So, I mean, it was that I had to have that conversation with Mickey, which was such a puppies and rainbows conversation to have. But he did.
What does puppies and rainbows conversation mean? I don't know what that means.
It's my saying that when my life is chaotic, like with my terrorist children, I always just go to my puppies and rainbows space. So it's my happy space where I'm just like, everything is just puppies and rainbows over here, and I love it because the world is burning. Okay, like that's Amy's version of like just locking myself in my own mind, kind of thing. So it was a fun conversation.
I will say one thing about this, Russell. Since that little episode happened, we have been working together for over 2 years together. I have toned down. What's that?
It's 2 years in November.
Well, still, it feels like longer.
Yeah.
It seems like just 1 year to me.
I know, right?
No, it feels. But I have toned down my passive aggressiveness around this, and I'm getting better around that, working with other people. My thing was this. I had a publicist take credit for opportunities that I had lined up. I've had publicists who I work with in-house at Penguin because my clients are traditionally published. I've had publicists at Penguin call me who live in Toronto asking me for Toronto media contacts. I've had, all this kind of stuff. So did I have my guard up when talking with Amy? Yeah, I had my guard up.
And I defend you because I practiced law for 40 years. I saw nothing but what you're worried about because it's nothing but that out there. Amy's integrity is kind of exceptional, but you didn't know when you met her. You had to get to know her. You didn't know.
I'm pretty cool.
I totally understood it.
Really what Amy should have done, and I'm glad she didn't do this now, she should have shut me down that very day and said, go away. I'm not interested in talking with you.
Yeah, well, she does believe in revenge, so there's no telling what she was actually planning.
It hasn't come into fruition yet, okay? No, I'm just...
Well, it turns out you didn't need to do revenge. It turned out, that he was this, what'd you call it, puppies guy.
Puppies and rainbows!
Yes.
Yeah.
It's more like a Rottweiler and Lucky Charms or something to that effect. But hey,
yes, that is a big accomplishment. I will be the leprechaun from the Lucky Charms guy. I love that guy. So
and I'll be the Rottweiler. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I totally own that.
I have seen you go off, though, Amy. You're not always...
Oh, I've seen her go off, too.
I know.
Actually, this last week, I saw her go off.
I'm so sorry for you.
And I didn't even do anything.
It's all lies. It's all lies, you guys. They're just telling lies.
Anyways, bottom line is I became a better person when I met Amy. And, I'm working with Black Chateau Enterprises and Desiree and Lucia and all these other great people. And I mean, yeah, it's good.
And we've had on, because we've had access to your authors. We've had some incredible authors.
Oh, thank you.
Because it's been some of our best shows we've ever had.
Really? Oh, thank you guys.
I've worked hard, yes.
He did. He worked so hard. It kept him up at night. And he was just like, oh, man, yeah.
But really, you really have some great authors. And you've done some great work with them. Tell us a couple of the... do you have a couple of funny stories about your authors that you've never told, that you can't tell without telling names?
I've made some mistakes with my authors where I've booked them in different time zones, and then they've no-showed, and I've called them out on it when it turned out to be my fault. I have fixed that little issue. But I mean, not really any really funny stories. There have been some heartwarming and tragic stories, but end of the day, it all works out. So yeah, nothing funny really.
Do you represent romance writers too?
I had a couple, but I'm not working with them anymore.
You know, Amy, was it last year? We did like 3 months.
Yeah, Love-a-Palooza.
Like 10 romance writers a week. And we got to know those. They're a whole different cat in a really good way. And they have their own problems in romance writing. And I don't know if any of your writers had this problem. They have the trouble of they'll publish a book and someone will republish their exact book under a different name.
That's pirating.
Yeah. They have massive pirating problems in romance.
Yeah, that doesn't happen with my team. I have very, very many ways to fix that little issue.
How do you fix that issue? I mean, you got to send letters of stop and desist from attorneys.
No.
He just Rottweilers them. That's what he does.
We had 2 books this year that the sites tried to pirate, and Amy knows this. We got it fixed. I emailed the pirators. I said, you need to stop. They turned out to be authors as well. And I basically said, if you ever want media coverage again, you will desist in your activities. And they did. And then we called Amazon and we got that corrected. Yeah.
So you didn't even have to hire an attorney. That's too bad. I prefer it when you did.
You'll be my first call, Russell, if I ever have to. Unless George Lucas calls me first, in which case I'm going to take that call. Just saying.
He so did. He so did. The whole first planet that the first movie starts on is Dune.
Pirating is another thing that, I mean, people just need to be careful about protecting their assets, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. But I got to tell you, romance writers, that was one of the main things that they were all worried about. They all talked about.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised, but apparently you've got 2 serious authors that's had the same problem.
Yeah, we fixed it.
It's nice.
Yeah, we fixed it. They didn't think I could fix it, but we fixed it.
So what is there any other problems your authors have had over the last year you've had to do? Is there any new things coming up? Any new problems? What's this?
TikTok wants to charge you $5 so
you're so
see
anti-TikTok.
I am. I'm so anti-TikTok. I have my reasons though, okay? And I don't feel like aggressive Amy needs to come out, but I have my reasons for being it. My biggest reason is because book talk, which only works for certain genres, everybody. It does not work for all genres. And if you're mad at me, you are more than welcome to send me an email and we can have a full-blown conversation. But it only works for romance authors and like fantasy, maybe. Instagram is more fit for fantasy, but we'll just go with that. But since book talk, pirating of books has exploded. And a lot of misinformation also on how to publish your book, and a lot of authors not getting copyrights and things like that for their book, and then their book gets pirated because of book talk, has fed to this entire thing of indie authors now struggling more than they were before because of pirating of book. And Amazon is cracking down on that, where it doesn't matter who really owns that book, everybody gets banned from publishing for eternity. Just like on reviews, if they find out you're being paid for reviews, every single person that's written a review on that product or that book gets banned, right? Amazon is doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing when it comes to AI, because now AI can write your entire book. You can publish it. So now on Amazon, you also have to clarify whether or not you had any kind of AI involvement in your book on your cover or whatever. And they're limiting you on how many you can publish now a day because of all of these things. TikTok has fed into all of these things, TikTok and AI, but book talk especially has fed into now the hardships in which independent authors or self-published authors are now having on top of small presses and stuff, because pirating a common client me and Mickey have is a small press that has had to deal with pirating. And
Yeah, we
a
fixed
lot of these things are feeding it, right? So that's my biggest issue with TikTok. If you want to get out and make trendy videos and dance, which no one wants to see me do that, more power to you. But it's doing harm to the author and indie community, which is why I am very much an anti-TikToker person. But
So
anyway,
you can get AI to write reviews for you.
Yeah,
you can
I
do
fired
all
a couple
kinds
of
of
reviewers
stuff.
for that very reason.
You can have AI write your book. You can have AI format your book if you really want, which I would not trust at all. You can have it do minor edits on your book, create covers for your book. And so then, at this Historical Novel Society conference that I went to, they had an attorney there, a copyright attorney, talking about how do you copyright AI because it's not really your content. So how can you copyright your book if AI writes almost pretty much your entire book? So there's all those kinds of issues, right? So when you can't do that, and then you have a pirating issue and someone's jacked your book and put a different cover on it, you have no leg to stand on, right? Because you don't have the copyrights to your books. So all of these things feed into it, and then it feeds into all this misinformation. I encounter so many indie authors or self-published authors that are like, oh, I was told to go through all of these leaps and bounds, right? And it's like, well, why? You really need to do this and focus on this. And like, yeah, it's an investment. To self-publish your book is an investment. It's going to cost you money to do it. That's just the bottom line, right? But you're putting out a quality of love and a product that you really are proud of, right? So that's an investment. So you need to do your copyright, okay? Because I'm telling you, this explosion of pirating, not everybody has a Mickey that can go after them. But at the same time, if you didn't do a copyright on your book, or it's primarily some other person's content, you have no leg to stand on. And then you won't be able to publish a book ever again because Amazon's having to crack down on all of that, right? So it's feeding into this atomic bomb situation, which is making it hard for indie authors. When indie authors already have to overcome the stigma of being an indie author, they're not traditionally published, right? You already have that against you. So that's my problem with TikTok. I'm just throwing it out there, Russell. Because
and the other
But
thing,
how do you feel?
that's how I feel. I love it. I love
the
it.
other thing too with TikTok, Amy, and I'm just segueing into what she said. All the authors on TikTok, they're not covered under anything. The authors who are having success on TikTok normally do not focus on traditional media veins or other book promotion veins, unless you're calling Hoover or Katie Roberts. But
Right.
the others, they're doing their, like you said, they're doing their little dances and they're selling their books to their circle of other people on TikTok. My thing is this: at some point, every social media has a shelf life. What are those authors going to do when TikTok is no longer the flavor of the day? Because they don't do anything else but TikTok.
Okay, well, my response to that, though I think it's a great argument and I actually agree with you. But nevertheless, my response would be Taylor Swift won't care when TikTok is gone.
Yeah, but Taylor Swift is not an author. She is a musician.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
That's the difference, Russell. I have musicians who focus on TikTok and Instagram. This argument doesn't hold for them, but I'm talking about authors and authors who are having success, indie authors who are having success on TikTok, who haven't taken the time to do a proper cover or proper editing and are selling their book through videos to all of the TikTok community, but can't get anywhere else. What are they going to do when TikTok goes away?
I mean, you're right. You have a winning argument. I just can't help myself.
And I just beat a lawyer, Amy. Look at that. Maybe I should be a lawyer.
Yeah.
He didn't beat an author. Luke is still
No.
defeating Darth Vader when it's over.
Yeah.
Am I wrong, guys? Like, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me.
No,
You're not wrong.
I think at the end of the day, though, like if we're going to be completely honest with ourselves, each social media, like you said, has its lifespan. TikTok is more going to be, I don't know, because it helped create shorter videos, right? Because everyone's attention span is a lot shorter, right? Like
Yeah.
a toddler is kind of how I say it. It's like a toddler platform. But I think the thing with that is if you go and you study and you read articles and you look at the numbers and you do all these things, right? Which is Amy's job, which is what Amy likes to do. you have a lot of people that are kind of coming back and wanting social media to be social, which is what it was originally meant for, right? So you have that trend that's coming back where a lot of people are like, man, like I just want to talk to people, or do this. I don't need to update my life. I don't need to do
Is
these
that
videos.
really a trend? And
It's
how?
what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
you'll find a bunch of people that are like, oh yeah, no, everyone's on TikTok, and you'll hear about it all over. But like, I don't know. It could be like the millennials, which you guys know I don't associate with, but I am a millennial, right? We're more kind of like, we want to go back to it just being social, and I don't want to give my life updates, and I don't want to do these things. I just want to, be social with other people that I don't get to see anymore. Like I don't live in the same city, or they've gone and done other things, and communicate kind of in that way and stay in touch. And I don't really want to, get out there and make these videos and do all these things, right? So it's kind of one of those things. And you have a lot of people, like Jeffree Star is a prime example, who left YouTube and went to TikTok and now is coming back to YouTube. Like it's one of those things. It's a fad platform, kind of like Clubhouse was, and all of those things. So I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people are craving more social interaction and not so much being on their phone. Because I mean, if you go out and you sit at a park, right, on a bench, or you sit in the grocery store parking lot, whatever you want to do, and people watch, which is Amy's thing, everybody's on their phone. But you'll see some people that are just having a conversation and they seem much happier, right? So if you go and you do these things and you do the research and read these articles and stuff, a lot more people are wanting to have those kinds of interactions where it's more social. I'm not on my phone all the time. I'm not making videos or doing these things, right? Because it's doing a lot more harm, especially now that mental health awareness is becoming more popular, especially for our younger generation, right? You have a lot more advocates for that. So you have a lot of people that are kind of advocating for that, and it's kind of making a difference. So you have to go and do the research for yourself. You can't take what I say, because what I say could be completely biased in your opinion, right? But if you go and you read the articles, you look at the numbers, you see the trends of things that are going on, you'll start to see the shift from videos and making a ton of money, right, which is not sustainable. You'll see the shift going back to just being social. You'll see a lot more people that are less posting on videos and stuff and more trying to just engage. There's a lot more interaction within Facebook groups. And I know I'm getting the eye because I'm going over time, but within Facebook groups
Actually,
and Facebook
this has
communities.
been some of the best part of the whole show. You weren't getting an eye at
Amy's
all.
tangent.
This has been
Amy's
some
tangent.
of the best part of the show.
No, so Facebook groups and Facebook communities has really made a huge comeback. Everybody knows when they first came out, nobody was really involved. But now there are certain groups. Like I was diagnosed with something recently, and I've joined a lot of support groups and things like that for this. And those are very active groups. And I mean, they are really building a community. And that's more what people are looking for, which is why the trend right now is Facebook groups and finding communities and building those communities and finding support, right? It's not so much doing these videos and stuff. You'll find the younger generations doing those and sticking on the influencer train, which we all know is a dying train, right? And I've said that for years. But you have more of support, community, camaraderie is more what people are gearing towards. I mean, you have so many author groups out there that you have that are active, but you have so many other authors that are wanting to create groups and communities to educate and all these, because you have so much misinformation. So if you go and you read articles, you look at the numbers, you look at the trends and everything that's going on, the groups and community is what people want, which is originally what social media was for, which was to be social, bring people together that you couldn't be in the same room with and stuff like that, and have support within that from people all over that are going through similar experiences or what you're wanting to kind of learn about. And that's come back around to where that's the current trend. So you have one that's kind of dying and one that's coming around, and it's also based on generations, right? So millennials are more looking for communities and support groups and those kinds of things, and the younger generation is still doing videos and doing crazy stuff, right? So you have to follow kind of where that is and where you fall within this shift, because it is shifting, whether you want to admit it or not. There is a shift that's happening. It's a slow shift, but it's happening for sure.
I agree with you 100%, Amy.
So, that's Amy's tangent of the day.
That was the best part of the show.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that I could bring something to the show. But you guys, you all know, if you want to hear more of my tangents, or if you have any kind of feedback or questions or whatever, you guys can send any of us a message or an email or anything like that. We're always open. We did go over on time today, and I'm lucky I did not get the stink eye from Mr. Russell.
Because it was too good.
Aw, thanks,
But
Russell.
we
You're
hope
awesome.
that you all have a fantastic Monday. Happy Thanksgiving to our Canadian neighbors. And
Yay.
have a great rest of your week. And we'll catch you all next Monday. Bye
I'll
for
see
now,
you in a month.
everybody. Yes.
Bye, everybody.